We are here live at Dame Dash Studios. This is another episode of Healing This Gangster, and these are the Dame Sessions. Welcome, welcome.
What's happening? You know,
Quiet on the set.
you know, on certain days, I come down and work on music, and I consider music a big form of therapy for me, because it's where I could just, it's funny because I hear music and whatever's on my mind, whatever I'm feeling just comes out rhythmically, you know, to whatever music is playing. And then, you know, I get to talk to you, so like, this is like my therapy day on different levels, you know, and I appreciate this day because it balanced, you know, this last week and just having a friend that's a therapist.
What shows your commitment to your process too? And I think that's a good example in itself, because that's the problem with a lot of people who do seek therapy, is it's such a commitment, you know what I mean? And to be able to do it every week or do it regularly, you gotta be able to fit it into your schedule. That's part of the program. So,
well, I always look forward to making myself better.
yeah.
Like whether it's making a movie better or making music better or making my soul and my mind better. But what I realize is how important it is for me to be balanced because of how many people look to me for direction, and I know that energy is contagious.
Right.
So like one of the things I try to teach bosses or people that want to be bosses is if you're on a plane and you're a pilot and you have stewardesses and you have passengers, if something's going on with the plane that can be fixed, if you start to have any anxiety, then your stewardess has anxiety, and then all of your passengers have anxiety.
It's gonna be a whole.
Then that's going to cause an accident.
Yeah.
So when you're at the captain of a ship or you're the pilot of a plane, it's very important, regardless of what you feel, to be reserved about it and not to really show any emotion until you really have to. Because what I know is that emotion is also chemical. There's hormones.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when you feel certain things, whether it's a big deal or not, those triggers make those hormones go and you feel anxiety. So what I've learned is just to take a tick, you know, pause just a second before I react. But anyway, what I've been doing this week is reflecting. You know, you hear about so many bad things that are going on that you have to make sure that you pay attention to the good. Because the good stuff is so much more than the bad stuff. And the bad stuff a lot happens to other people when you're concerned that it can happen to you. You know? So just last week we were having conversations about, damn, it's getting wild out here. And you were like, yeah, but if you're prepared, you're all right. And I thought about it, and I was like, you're right. But I still don't like the mental conditioning of being prepared, of not being able to be relaxed about certain things at this point in my life. But anyway, the good things, you know, we're moving toward the end of the year, and I start to reflect. I look at my vision board, and I start to see the things that I accomplished. And then I look at the things that I knew I wanted to accomplish, and the things that I've accomplished that I didn't even know I wanted.
Right.
You know? And again, when I reflect, the one thing that matters more than anything is my family. And I've been able to reconnect with my son, Boogie. And I'm really happy about that because now I feel complete.
Yeah, shouts out to Boogie too.
Yeah, he was doing way better than I thought, and I was happy to see that. But I was wounded every second that I'm in any kind of issue with any one of my children. You know, I know how to not acknowledge that pain, but it's still there.
Now, regarding that, because we have been talking about that for a while, like your relationship with Bug in particular. You know, even from the beginning, like
that's
even
how
back to the show, right? So we've been dealing with that situation for a while, and I've seen no concern the whole time. But part of like looking at your process and making sure you can repeat it when other obstacles come is recognizing the process from a hindsight, like saying, okay, like if I ask you right now, what were some of the steps during that process that you took to be able to make that situation better with your son? It's good to reflect on that because
I do.
Yeah.
I came up with an epiphany today.
Yeah.
Basically from that very thought.
Yeah.
So my method at this point in my life with people, whether I love you or not, is if we're not vibrating at the same level, I'm gonna give you space.
Right.
You get space. That means until we can be on the same sheet of paper, some way, shape, or form, we just need distance, space. And I started to think like, damn.
It's not always a bad thing.
Well, not that, but it is true.
Yeah.
What I was thinking was, we're in a universe alone. And it's called space. And our planet is very imbalanced because we fight too much. And I know that if there was a naughty planet in a world full of planets that were peaceful, we'd be like, yo, I'm putting you in space. This culture, this world, we're in a universe where until we get our together, we will not be able to reconnect with peaceful people or peaceful beings. We will be in space. And I think that's what this is.
You just encapsulated my whole reasoning for getting into mental health in the first place, right there. Because I knew that as a community, as a people, as a planet, like no movement that we plan is gonna work unless we get our minds and our bodies together.
Well, the whole world culturally is traumatized.
Yeah.
When you look at the history to what got us here, man, people being enslaved, women being beat, none of that shit is acceptable. From a conscious, evolved state of mind, you gotta be a caveman, a very imbalanced person. You have to be heavily traumatized to be all right with traumatizing other people like it's a normal. It's a sick place, and it's 90% of the world.
And it's been going on for a long time.
In this vibration.
Yeah.
And that's why we're alone.
Yeah.
I think so. I really do.
No, absolutely, because trauma, it doesn't affect just your mind, it affects your DNA. So you gotta understand now it's almost imprinted into our DNA, the trauma that we're addressing. And then we don't have time to really address that past trauma because a lot of times we're too busy just surviving in the moment.
Well, here's the human fault. Because of our egos, we are too stubborn to listen to other people's trauma and learn from it. We have to learn from it from actual trauma. That's what actually makes people listen. I noticed that the only time people listen, even the people I love, that love me and respect me, they don't hear me unless they are spoken or hear me speak a certain kind of aggressive way. Unless it's a traumatizing way of speaking, nobody listens.
Yeah, I mean...
People protect themselves,
Uh-huh.
like as a boxer or someone that has learned how to fight for a very long time. Your best defense is offense. The way to keep yourself from getting hit is to punch.
Right.
And that means the best way to fucking defend yourself is to traumatize somebody else with violence. And that's the wrong way to approach it. But that's the way we're taught to fight and protect our energy. I was thinking about this, right? I'm more scared of my family, my culture, than I am of the other culture. When I'm in a neighborhood full of the other culture, I don't have to have my hammer. I don't need no security. But when I know I'm going someplace filled with family, that's when I gotta bring security. I'm afraid of my own people more than I'm afraid of the other. Why do people get into gangs? It has to be because they're protecting themselves because everyone else is, and if you don't, you will get hurt.
Well, I mean, it has a matter to do with protection and also from the lack of belonging as well.
Absolutely. The only way to feel like you have, because you don't have a family, and all of a sudden you have a family. All of a sudden you have someone that'll ride for you. You love your brothers like before you love your family. You love your code of protecting your family because you are getting protected in that code. You understand what I'm saying?
It all starts from a different perception of love, really. All of those things, either the search for it, the feeling of it, again, because...
But who are we protecting each other? We're fighting each other. We don't click up and start fighting another culture. We fight the next block.
Right. And
the next block is our family.
Yeah.
And it ain't the block, the neighborhood, it's the world.
Yep.
So I know that in our DNA because of the trauma. We're stubborn because of fear, because we're always trying to protect our own energy. And that's the test. You know, it's how do you protect and love at the same time without hurting people? How do you do it?
I mean, that's a crazy answer. You know, there's so many different complexities to that answer, but I know that it all involves starting with self, starting internally, and knowing how to react to your environment in a way that's going to progress you.
Or staying out of an environment that's going to trigger you.
Well, that's the thing, but some people don't have a choice. Not
But
to
at
stay
this
in
point,
the
in
environment.
this day and age, people do have a choice.
Not in the hood.
At a certain age, yeah.
I mean, it's the baby.
It's hard to leave if you're not. I left my hood.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's the thing about that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't a privileged kid, but I knew that if there's another place that I'm not going to be traumatized and I can make, you know, it's just, I feel like we're programmed to be worried about missing something. We're programmed to think that we got to be up under each other or else we're going to miss opportunity to live. Like, we pay so much just to be next to other people, and you can pay way less. The further out and the further away you get away from people, the cheaper shit is. The less accessible you are, the less you pay to live. But why do we pay so much to be so accessible, to be around people that have energy that we cannot control? I don't know what trauma somebody, like when someone walks up on me, I don't know if they're depressed. I don't know if they love their life. Because people that don't love their life don't love nobody else's. How the f do I know that when somebody walk up on me that I don't know? So why do I want to be around a bunch of strangers?
Right.
So why do we pay so much to be around people we don't know? Because we're scared we missing something. We're programmed to be in a prison without bars. And then be mad about having to be subject to the rules. If you, listen, this is what I know. If you, because think about it, right? And I was having another sort of an epiphany. You know, with the Metaverse.
Right.
We created a Metaverse, or there's a Metaverse created. This is year 1 or 2, right? We're just getting into it. In 50 years, I bet with technology, we will be able to have artificial intelligence where they make babies and actually have their own mind. And we're going to be the god of that Metaverse. And in my mind, I'm thinking, shit.
Well, that's how
A million years ago, someone evolved, must have created a universe.
I was going to say, a lot of
And
people
we
think that.
must be in the, I've been thinking it, but this validates. Anything that we can do has been done to us. Logically. So these are thoughts I've been having. You know, I've been bugging.
You need to go watch The Matrix again.
Nah, I know the Matrix.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen eventually. Thank you. What's my blood sugar? It might be about to go down. I don't want it to stack. See, I think you catch you looking at my blood's at 300.
Stay aware of your, see, that's staying aware of your condition.
Exactly.
That's another show. You feel me? That you can get on the damn best note.
And also, something very important is recognizing your triggers.
Absolutely.
Once you can recognize your trigger and people that are triggering you, that's when you can set boundaries. And that's when you know when to get away from certain people.
Absolutely.
If someone that you tell, this is what triggers me, and they continue to do it regardless to whether they know they can't control it, because they can't control themselves.
Right.
That they're going to cross my boundaries and trigger me over and over again, unless I really love you, you in my rear view, bro.
Yeah. No, not like I said, don't get it twisted. Like, I agree with what you're saying. You feel me? Mm-hmm. It's just that, No, I'm saying, I agree with what you're saying, but I think the twist to that is, right, the problem that we have as a people, especially in our communities, is that we got to go through a bunch of bullshit before we even get to that level of thinking.
That's my point. We got to go through trauma before we got to try to fix it.
And that's why I be telling you, like, if you're lucky enough to make it out of that unpredictable environment, then of course, then you should utilize your choices. But a lot of us are in that twister.
The only way for
born into it.
The only way for change is to do it different.
Exactly.
So if I'm in an environment that makes me have to be a certain way,
right,
then I don't need to go to that environment. There's no money that's worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But what's on my mind is I be thinking of scenarios where I have security where I don't, or where I feel like I need security. It's always around when I know I'm gonna be around my family.
Yeah. But you know what's funny though, and I'm a fellow person that goes back to and does things as far as giving back. You know what I'm saying? You
yeah.
do that, and that's what I'm saying. See, so this is the thing. It becomes a balance of, yes, making the right decisions to not put yourself in danger, and especially when you're leading a bunch of people, you're the head on top of the body. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take that into special consideration. But if you do have your mind to help your people, which I know you do, it's risky. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the most dangerous job.
What I'm saying is, I'm not saying I ain't going back.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that for people that's listening.
No, what I said is when I go back, I always have to go back cautious.
Right, there you go.
And that's not a great feeling to have to feel cautious around your family. That's the point I was making.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I go back through the schools with the OSG.
Right.
I go back through the therapy and do it publicly, so people could actually be like, yo, that's some cool shit.
Yes.
Let's do more of that. And that was always our mission. That's why we came up with healing is gangster. Because being weak and not dealing with it is soft. That's scary. That's scary shit to me.
Yeah, that's anxiety, that's trauma, that's fear, that's all the things
people are so scared that they don't even want to deal with what's making them scared. Yeah. They'd rather stay scared than deal with it and not be scared no more. Where I don't like being scared for a long time.
Right.
That's what bothers me. Like when my girl wakes up or something bothers her, and she comes and tells me, I'll be like, see, I'm not a scared person, but I feel your fear and I don't like how that feels. Don't bring that over here. You feel me?
That's setting your boundary.
Always. But when people are scared, that boundaries don't even exist. They too nervous. Yeah. That's why you make poor decisions when you're scared. You make poor decisions when you're feeling anxiety. Let the chemicals wear off. And especially, to me, the only time I react quickly is to defense. But if I'm going to be strategic about hurting somebody because I'm mad, usually by the time I think it through, I'm strategic about not hurting.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it
at that point.
It ain't worth it.
That's what I mean about making decisions that are progressive.
That's why
you got to be in that state of mind to do that a lot of times, which is the major problem we have.
It's patience. It's sometimes you just can't react on how you feel in that moment. You got to react on how you feel a couple moments later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, besides you being back good with Bug and getting that, cracking again, what else was going on this week with you?
The level of my conversation, going through grids for Fox Soul.
Yeah, it's all about.
Actually, the Fox Soul thing, having an opportunity to everybody that I've been actually rehearsing and practicing with, including yourself.
Absolutely.
We are now ready at a professional level. And that's what I always said this was. This is always practice, and even our practice will be monetized.
Yeah, I remember that from the get.
And it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Being a full-service movie studio. Being able to make my own movies and also help other filmmakers make movies. Being able to celebrate my movies making money, but also other people's movies. Because when people do deals with me, I'd be like, congratulations, but we really going to celebrate when you put some bread in the bank. Yeah. That's when we celebrate. Potential is great, but realizing it, I call it the death of a dream. Because when a dream dies, that means it's become a reality. Yeah, that's the best funeral to go to. That's the only death I like to have fun with.
That's tight.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of those things. Beginnings of something amateur and beginnings of something professional.
Yeah.
And just looking at the future and visualizing and celebrating, and also really, 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 really celebrating being healthy. When you get 50 and your friends start to be 50 and 60 and 45, and you start seeing them die of cancer is really going crazy right now, bro. And I've been trying to warn the world that this food is terrible. Stop committing suicide consciously. If you know it's gonna f you up, why? Because it tastes good, pause. Put this shit in your fucking body. Why? And I'm seeing it, and I'm like, yo, I'm healthy. I'm gonna celebrate. And AIDS, things happen. But while I'm healthy, while there's things that I can fix, I'm going to celebrate life every day. I'm never gonna complain about anything, bro.
except for being in the wrong place too many times and being aggravated. Like, I ain't coming here no more.
Well, I mean, sometimes you gotta make, your feelings known, and that's not always the most pleasant
You know,
experience.
the thing about a lot of people, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this, right, is a lot of people, when you give them constructive criticism, immediately get so defensive that they can't even acknowledge or have accountability for it, to the extent that the same mistake will happen over and over again. And it's like, I have to internalize sometimes because I don't feel like dealing with someone doing something wrong, me telling them they're doing it wrong, and then them arguing me about it.
Right.
To the extent that they will be doing the same mistake over and over again. So I've had to learn how to walk away when that happens.
And how have you been able to do that? What's that process look like? For what are you thinking?
Either I walk away, or the person around me, I ask them to walk away, and we can talk later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I usually get mad.
Yeah, you realize, at least I do.
Like at the end of the day, like after like 4 or 5 times, and my money's involved.
Yeah.
My tone is, I'm not even playing. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I think that's,
Like when we on the front line,
yeah.
when it's really going down,
Mm-hmm.
all that other shit is out the window.
I think when you're dealing with people though, that got the equal goal, and they're like, because me and you, we've had several conversations, and you've shared with me many times, like, yo, freak something like this, or you come out to me with ideas of things, either bringing something or saying, hey, twist this up a little bit,
right,
and it'll be, what you want it to be.
Or even down to, yo, call this dude now.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but some people, if I say that,
yeah,
they'll get mad. But that's not even a mistake. That's like, I'm saying like, that's like just advice. Some people, if you, like, they can be dead wrong.
Yeah.
Because you bring it to their attention, and it's happened 5 or 6 times, still get offended when you speak to them about it. And not caring about how it affects the rest of the team. So I'd be like, yo, if it just affected you, I wouldn't be so
well, that's a deeper problem at that point.
That's actually the common human denominator that I have problems with.
Yeah.
With a lot of people.
I think
It's a common thing.
I think in this industry that we're in, whether it's music, whether it's whatever
Life.
creative space it is, especially, I find that a lot of people they're starting with low self-esteem. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to get that self-esteem through this business, which is not the healthy thing to do.
And
so,
also because they're internalizing, they overreact when
Yes.
they bring something, what's up, bro? When they bring something to their attention.
Yeah, and that's the insecurity kicking in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's again where you got to look at yourself. And like I look at my insecurities because we all have them. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, anybody who says they don't have insecurities, that's, you know what I'm saying? And I'm an expert. You feel me? So I'm telling you that's bullshit. We all have insecurities. It's just that
I was just sitting here trying to think what I'm insecure about. I remember what I was insecure about.
Yeah.
I think
I mean, again,
I think insecure is when you don't deal with what's bothering you.
insecurities are not always a bad thing, though. It's like, okay, if
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's something you can't find.
Nah, if you're able to self-scan, right, you're a master businessman. I know you've looked at your situation and said, you know what, I can maximize this more. You know what I'm saying?
Every day I think I can be
this might be a part of myself that might be weaker than this part.
I
You know
always
what I'm
think
saying?
every day I think I could be better if I'm not smoking.
It's how you handle the things that you may look at yourself and say I could be better at, as opposed to how somebody who's negatively thinking about how they're.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, when I'm weak at something, I'm never insecure at that. Like, for example, right?
Yeah.
On the ranch, Rocky gave me this like 9/11 this gun, right? And I didn't know how to use it. So, and I had a tape of this shit on me and Nicolette. I'm like, yo, let's go up some acres so I don't make no mistakes. I want to way to get it right, you know? And I was trying to do this shit and it wasn't working. And then all of a sudden it started working. It's like, pow, 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 pow. And I sent it to somebody that I love, that I respect a lot, that is good with the guns. But I sent it to him because I wanted him to laugh at me about it.
Yeah.
Because I found that like I should know how to use that.
Well, you're confident in yourself.
Right. So when I see him again, when we speak again, he's like, man, what the fuck? I said, you saw the tape? Man, you need some lessons and blah, blah, blah. He starts. I'm like, that's why I sent it to you, bro. I didn't think I would look cool. You know what I mean? So even when I walked into the,
you bumped into
I edited that up and put it up myself.
I remember. Yeah,
So
funny.
I'm not insecure about making mistakes. Everybody does.
Right.
I think trying to pretend you don't make mistakes when you do looks stupid. I think pretending that you're something you're not at any time is just a weak thing. It's pussy to me. So me hiding something that I'm bothered about is me showing fear, like I give a fuck what somebody thinks about me.
Right.
So I'm this.
So that's what I'm telling you.
I don't mind being because I start things from scratch. You make mistakes the first time you do anything.
Right.
So to me, just to try, even to make a mistake, even to me to fight and lose, as long as you fought, that was still a stat. Mm-hmm. So I was just showing them a tape of me getting jumped in Paris and fighting 9 niggas. I took an L, but I was showing it. I'm proud because I fought.
Because you fought, yeah. No,
you feel me?
no
You can't lose when
no
you
doubt.
you know.
But again,
even when you lose, if you lose, going all out, it's a W.
Look at the commonalities in what you're saying, though. How you responding. You understand? And that's why I'm saying the difference. That's why people, again, that's why I said that's that internalization. People got to be able to look at themselves and do that gangster shit.
But it's hard not to judge other people that don't see things the same way. So sometimes the only excuse I have is you're not where I'm from. You know, we don't have the same lineage. You haven't been conditioned the same way. But it's still, I'll be like, I just don't see how people could choose this route where you stay suffering over just like dealing with it and hiding who you are and being miserable rather than having, like, I can't internalize things because it makes me feel bad. And that's where depression starts. If you don't communicate things that bother you, you overreact. And I want people to understand something. The only people that listen to you are the people that care. So if you have an issue and the only person listening is the closest person to you, you've given them all the that somebody else deserves.
Right.
So for the people you love, you got to deal with it so they don't have to deal with your. Almost every person I love that gives me because somebody in their past fuck with them that they can't get to, and I'm like, yo, I didn't do that. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, dealing with your issues, if you don't give a fuck about yourself, at least care about the people you love enough to say, I don't want this to affect them. But if you don't love yourself, it's hard to know how to care about other people in the first place.
Yeah, and you just brought it up why it's so easy for us to do violence to each other right there.
Yeah, but that's why
ourselves.
I just think it's whack that we keep killing each other, and if we gonna kill something, it should be the ones oppressing us, not the ones that look like us.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing that you really voice, your experience on is, again, reacting. Like, we all go through these situations, like everybody in the world, especially if you're an oppressed people, we go through things, but it's all about how you respond. And you gotta be aware of what you're thinking, how your body's reacting in a moment to be able to take that time and say, you know what, I shouldn't do this because I gotta get back home to my family. Or I shouldn't be here because I gotta get home to my family.
That's the one. Just don't be there.
Your hood.
I don't know how I'm gonna respond.
The thing that keeps you focused, even when things get crazy, is your love for your family. See, and we all have to find that one thing.
I'm not ever put my situation right now consciously. I'm never gonna put myself in a situation where I can't get home, or I gotta fight to get home, or I gotta be careful to get home. Not at this age.
Yeah.
If I had to survive, I could dig it. But I have options right now. So I do feel like if I put myself in certain decisions, because my dreams have come true, my nightmares will come true. And I've noticed that. This is what I explain to everyone. When extraordinary good things happen to you, extraordinary bad things can happen as well. Like, who the f*** loses their girl in a plane crash? That's a thing that it's just incomprehensible. It's like, yeah, but all my dreams also came true, so nightmares do happen as well. And you gotta deal with both of those things. So, if there's any kind of possibility for a nightmare to come my way, I'm going the other way. I'm not gonna prove anything other than that I'm not fucking with that. You know what I'm saying? Period.
Good decisions. I think we should, that's a good way to end our weekly session.
I needed some therapy this week.
Come on, bro. You already
She
know.
was on my brain. You know what I mean?
Bro, you already know. Feeling is gangster. Staying Best Studios. These are the Dame Sessions. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in, but don't go nowhere because we got some good stuff coming.
Some music therapy. All right, Black Guns, load up. Click, pause.
Get it. Tajay 310. I'm your favorite hood therapist. Come on, let me see what we about. Dame Best Studios. You know what it is.
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.